booktubers, my name is Lauren, you're watching Dreams, Books, Courage, and today I'm going to be doing the book Courtship Tag, which was originally created by Hi I Love Books, and I was tagged by Books in Big Hair, so thank you so much for tagging me. I will be leaving a link to both of those videos down below. But first I wanted to mention that I've reached 2,000 subscribers, which is crazy to me, and I'm so happy about it. And I'm just glad that I've been able to spend all this time talking about books with you guys, because that is just one of my favorite things to do, and it's just amazing to be part of this booktube community, so thank you for accepting me into it. I've been wanting to do this tag for a while, so I was really glad whenever I was finally tagged to do it. So let's go ahead and get into these questions. First we have phase 1, which is initial attraction, a book that you bought because of the cover, and for that one I'm gonna have to go with 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. If you've been watching my channel for a while, then you know how much I just love this cover. This was definitely a cover buy because I just couldn't stay away after I saw this beautiful cover for the first time. It's just a beautiful mixture of watercolor and just beautiful places. I still haven't read it yet, but I'm so glad that I own it because I just love this cover so much. Next up we have phase 2, First Impression, a book that you got because of the summary, and for this one I'm going to go with Angel Fall by Susan E. On the back of the book it says, "It's been 6 weeks since angels of the apocalypse descended to demolish the modern world. Street gangs rule the day while fear and superstition rule the night. When warrior angels fly away with a helpless little girl, her 17-year-old sister, Penryn, will do anything to get her back." And that's all I needed to read to know that I really wanted to read this book. And of course I've heard just amazing things about it all over BookTube, but just based on that summary alone I would want to pick it up. Before I read this trilogy I had never read anything about angels, but I find angels really interesting, especially in a book format. Just based on the summary of having angels within this novel, I knew that I had to pick it up. Next we have phase 3, Sweet Talk, a book with great writing, and for that one I had to go with The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I love Fitzgerald's writing style. It is just one of my favorites. The way that Fitzgerald writes isn't as much plot heavy as it is just about the individual sentences themselves. So within these individual sentences they're just very beautiful, and personally it's as simple as that I love reading beautiful sentences, and Fitzgerald definitely has this book chock full of them. Next we have phase 4, First Date, a first book of a series which made you want to pursue the rest of the series. And for that one I'm definitely gonna go with Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I know some people don't think that the first book of this series is that amazing, but personally I really enjoyed this, and it definitely made me want to keep on reading the series. Before I started this book I didn't think that I would find it that amazing, but once I got into it I just really loved it, and I delved into the story and I just love it so much. So this book definitely introduced me into a world of Sarah J. Maas, and I'll definitely be reading all of her books because of this first one. Next we have phase 5, which is Late Night Phone Calls, a book that kept you up all night long. And for this one it was kind of hard to choose because I can usually shut myself off from reading a book whenever it gets to be too late, because otherwise I feel like I'm not really into that book as much, and so I won't really remember as much of the story whenever I do go to sleep. But one that I couldn't stop reading until I finished it was Allegiant by Veronica Roth. This is the finale of the Divergent trilogy, and if you guys have read this book then you know that a lot of stuff goes down in it, and I just had to know how this world ended and just what happens within it. And so of course I had to keep on reading until I finally finished this, and saw everything that ended up happening. So I'm glad that I did it, but this book definitely made me end up in tears. Next up we have phase 6, which is Always on My Mind, a book that you could not stop thinking about. And for that one I'm going to go with Flatland by Edwin A. Abbott. Although this book is definitely quite small, it definitely packs a punch of intellectual thinking. And I couldn't stop thinking about the concept of this book in general, and also just the different ideas that it has within it. It definitely had me thinking on a more dimensional level of seeing how the first and second, third, and fourth dimensions really work together, and how the fourth dimension, which would be the spiritual dimension, kind of intertwines with our lives, and how we really believe in things that we cannot see, and it's just a very interesting concept. So this book definitely had me thinking a lot about it, and still to this day I still think about a lot of these concepts concepts within this book. Next we have phase 7, which is Getting Physical, a book that you love the way it feels. And for this one, I'm going to go with In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. This book is actually a graphic novel, and I think that the cover is just very soft feeling, but it's not like the velvet feeling that you get from a lot of books. And it's also a very floppy book, and I really like that about paperbacks whenever they are floppy, so it's easier to turn the pages. I'm not a huge fan of the books that have the velvet book covers on them, but I do love the very simplistic ones that just have a very smooth finish. Next we have phase 8, which is Meeting the Parents, a book that you'd recommend to your friends and family. And for this one, I think I want it to be more of an intellectual book in the form of a classic, so then I'm not just handing them like a romance book, because then that'd be kind of weird, especially if it's like my family. So even though I do not currently own this book, I think that I would give them 1984 by George Orwell. It's a very thought-provoking book, and it has a lot of deep symbolism in it. It is definitely not the happiest book in the world, but it's definitely very well written and very interesting. I definitely don't think that necessarily everyone would love to read this book, but it is still a very good read that has a lot of different elements in it, and I feel like not enough people have actually read this book, even though it is a classic. But it's definitely one that I would recommend. Next we have phase 9, which is Thinking About the Future, a book or series that you know that you'll reread many times in the future. And of course I could go with The Fault in Our Stars by John Green or the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, but instead of those I'm going to go with the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. I've already read this series 2 times, and I'm planning on reading this for a 3rd time this year. I really love this trilogy and what it stands for, and I think I'll be reading it way after the movies have stopped coming out. I think that this series is brilliant, and I'm looking forward to many rereads, and hopefully someday I'd also be able to read this to my children. And the last phase is phase 10. Who would you like to tag? And for this, I'm not going to be tagging anyone in particular, just because I feel like everyone has already done this tag. But if you want to do this, then you can definitely say that I tagged you, because I think that this is a really fun tag and everyone should do it, so definitely give it a try for yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and being subscribed to me. I really appreciate it. And I love being able to talk to you in the comments as well. As always, I'm gonna go get back to reading.